Welcome to everyone watching. This is Brent Locked In. I'm Savannah, and myself and other young people in Brent, we chatted to some pretty remarkable individuals from Brent. I'm really excited and really happy to be speaking to a very inspirational teacher from our borough, Andria Zafirakou. Andria, how are you?
I'm really well, Savannah. How are you? And thank you for inviting me to this conversation.
I'm very excited. I'm really excited to just hear everything I have to say about the young generation. I'm okay. I mean, it's weird, as you know, not being able to have a bit of normality, but at the same time, I feel like it's been quite good to kind of just have time to reflect and look at different things that you didn't have time to, think about before.
I hear you. I think I'm right there with you. I don't know if it's a guilty thing, but I've actually quite enjoyed some parts of it as well. Just enjoyed the parts of reconnecting with my house and my family and my garden. I mean, I've been quite grateful just to have that kind of me time again. So yeah, it's been an interesting time.
And tell us a bit about your school. So you work at Alperton. Have you guys started a phased reopening, or were you pretty much carrying on as normal anyway, like a lot of schools for key workers?
Yeah, we had a lot of our students in. We had about 40 students a day in. So we had our vulnerable and we had our key worker students in, and any other students who we thought we should be bringing in anyway. You know, when you go into the building, it's really strange because it's quiet and it's empty and the classrooms are empty, and a school building should never be like that. Hopefully we will be reopening super soon, because I think I miss it. I really miss it. And I don't know about you, Savannah, but I just find that it's hard to teach through a screen. The thing that I enjoy most about being a teacher is that when you kind of, when you're walking around the classroom and you're having those small conversations, and you can instantly just help a child improve there and then, or just kind of go, oh, just try this instead. And then that you can watch them kind of really develop and improve their work at that precise moment. So that instant feedback. But when you're working, I suppose, in a kind of this virtual world, you can't do that. It's very challenging to do that, and sometimes you've missed that moment. I find that's a struggle when it comes to teaching through this new way. My biggest concern is when they don't engage. So when they're not there. I mean, that's your big, so where are they? Why, how dare you not be in my class? But then obviously, how many laptops can a family have? Devices, it's a huge challenge in their household at the moment. I mean, I'm a mum and I'm homeschooling 2 kids as well. So trying to kind of balance the laptops, the online time, that's been the headache. So I'm really aware of that. But as long as they kind of keep in touch and keep and just make sure that I know they're there and they are producing some work, I think that's great. I think another thing which has been transformative is by having like Google Meet. So just making sure that you just touch base and they can see you and you can see them. And oh my God, I love that. I mean, my own kids start like teasing me, going, oh my God, Mum, you're so embarrassing. You keep on saying them how you miss them. I'm like, yeah, I do miss them. So can you imagine missing year 10s? All right, miss. But no, it's lovely. It's not forever, but as long as they know that you're there and you're thinking and you're trying your best to do exciting things for them, I think that's as good as it can be at the moment.
Yeah. And do you find that with the kids, because art is quite a subject that it helps with your well-being, it helps when you're feeling down, you can turn to art, you can paint, you can draw. Do you find that it's kind of been sort of, I guess, therapeutic for some of the kids during this time?
Oh, definitely. And I'll tell you what's been amazing, what's really blown me away is that, you've got the Black Lives Matter movement too. Some of our young people, I mean, how they've reacted to that, because obviously we've not been in school. Normally when you're in school, you can address this very quickly in assembly, you can have that conversation, or, you can sense if a child is uncomfortable or they really need to talk to somebody, but, we're not there at the moment. So what's been incredible is that they've just been producing artwork to showcase what their thoughts are, and they've just been randomly sending these in. We've not prompted, they've just sent them in, and we've just been collating them as a gallery. But that I think has just been perfect. That's been for me the most monumental part. The fact that our young people, they want to express themselves, and the way that they can do this safely is by producing art. Oh my God. I mean, that's just beautiful. That's amazing. Yeah, really happy about that. But I think what's really important is that not just with art, but for every single subject, we need to find a way of being able to teach and connect with our young people's cultures as well. Okay, through art we can teach about African culture, Indian culture. We can look at Indian artists, we can look at African artists, we can look at Asian artists, we can look at artists from all over the world. But I think what we need to do is make sure it's not just the art departments and the music departments that can do that. It's got to happen everywhere, for every single department. And I think this is why I think using role models in your teaching, using role models from the local community to come into your schools to talk about what they do, how they do it, what route did they go through? Did they go to university or did they not? And what challenges? I think, honestly, Savannah, it's just the most powerful thing. I've seen young people who have, when we bring in guests or we bring in artists and they look like them, they've grown on the same estate as them. I've just looked at the kind of that, you can see it's like twinkle in the eye thinking, oh my God, he's like me, I can be like him, and I think that's the key to inspiration. That's the key to producing a really great young person. It's the key to making sure that, they can dream whatever they want to dream and be whoever they want to be.
Yeah. So let's talk a bit about your childhood. So, I know you have strong ties to Brent, but did you grow up in Brent, or was that something, or did you move to Brent later on in life?
Right, I always lived in Brent, in Kingsbury, funny enough, and I still live on the same road, that I've grown up in. So I live, if you've seen my Big Fat Greedy Wedding, I live across the road from my parents, so that's quite interesting. When I was younger, I was raised in Camden, because Camden was where my primary school was, and my grandmother was. So what happened was my parents used to drive all the way from Kingsbury to Camden, because that's where their work was, drop me off at my gran used to take me to school. So I would say when I was younger, I probably knew Camden more than what I did, than Kingsbury. But I've always lived in Brent. It's been, I think I probably always will live here as well. I love it. It's such an awesome borough, right? It's awesome. It's beautiful. It's stunning. It's creative. It's vibrant. Something's always going on. It smells great. You go from one street and then you can just smell all the spices and all the herbs, the cooking. You go to another street and smell something else. It's just awesome. I love it.
So did your parents move from Cyprus before you were born, or?
So my mum, she came from Cyprus, so the Greek part of Cyprus, and she emigrated with her family when she was 7 years old. So I think they came in the early 60s, and they moved straight to Camden. So Camden was a big that's where most of the immigrants used to come from Cyprus to the UK. But then my father, he came from Greece, from southern Greece, and my father's a priest, and he was training to become a priest. And so as a deacon, he was allocated to the UK because there's a huge big Greek community establishing there. So he was set up in Camden, and then him and my mum met in church, and that's when they met. So the rest is history. So, and my dad's still practicing at the church in Camden, where he was a priest, got about nearly 50 years ago now. So it's quite interesting.
So what was primary school like in the 80s then? Because for me, the 80s is such a pivotal decade. Even for me, I was born in 1997, but the 80s is a decade that I turn to so much, in terms of movies and music. So I'm just so intrigued to know what it was like in school during that period.
Okay, so it's really interesting. So I said my primary school was in Camden, and again, Camden at that time was I wouldn't say the most nicest area to be raised in. My parents still kind of held me close when I was walking down the streets, and I think they did suffer racism in terms of how they were seen towards by other members of the local area. However, my primary school was so diverse. So there was a huge population of Bengali students, Bengali families in Camden at that time, Black African families. And I just remember, like, the Bengali girls, when they used to come into school, they looked like princesses, like, like Princess Jasmine, with their gorgeous saris and their colourful dresses, and they just looked beautiful. And my teachers at that time, although the majority were all white, I remember one of my teachers, she still was very much influenced by African art, and I think she was Welsh. And so she would have textiles and African masks and different types of cultures all over her classroom. And I think that, again, made me connect more to my fellow students. So it was very diverse. We'd sing Diwali songs, and there was a huge emphasis on community skill still, which I really enjoyed.
So in that case, then, talking about growing up going to school in Camden, which to me is a borough known for its, I guess, rich culture and diversity, especially when it comes to contribution to arts and culture. So would you say that having that link to Camden was kind of what influenced your passion for arts and culture as well?
I'm sure it has been, and I'll tell you why, because when I was doing my teacher training, one of the schools that I trained in was in Bushy area, so near Watford, and it was the most oddest school I ever went to. Not because, and it stood out. Why did it stand out? Because there wasn't any other young people there who were not white. Everyone was white in that school, and I was aware of it. Yes, I'm seen as white, but I was aware of it, and I could see there's no colour. What's going on? And it felt very strange, and it was a very different school. And then my next training program was a school in Stanmore, and again, in that particular school, again, it was very highly Asian in terms of student population, with some Black Afro-Caribbean young people, and again, it was like spot the white child in that school. And yet I felt more comfortable being in that diverse, multicultural society than I probably did being in that Watford school that I was originally. It's bizarre, isn't it? And sometimes when I take my girls to Greece, and and I'm walking in Greece, and Greece again is a very kind of Mediterranean country, and there's not that much where we go. There's not that many diverse people who live in our village or in our town, and you notice it completely. So and you're grateful for that. You're thinking, wow, okay, I miss being back home. I miss seeing other people. I miss running to walk by the mosque, or walking by the temple, or going on Ealing Road and seeing all those spices and those colours. Yeah, you do miss that, because sometimes you do feel like you're in a bit of a bubble when you are outside of Brent. It's very different.
I'm similar to you in that when I'm in a diverse sort of group, I feel more safe, I feel more at home, compared to if I was in a group where it's mainly like 99% white people. So how do you navigate those spaces while still not allowing yourself to sort of feel out of place?
I think it's, it's about having the mindset that, I don't know if this is politically correct, but what blind people do, how would blind people react? We go in and they will just talk to anyone. It's just sociable with anyone. And I'm a very sociable person. I'm quite happy to talk to absolutely any human being. And I'm interested. And I think having probably that mindset whereby everyone's got a great story, and it's good to talk, it's good to be sociable, it's good to share, and that different is great. Different is exciting. Different is interesting. Now, I was raised in a way whereby, everything that was Greek was correct. That's right. Yeah, you just keep in your bubble. If you wanted to go to the vegetable shop, you go to that person because he's one of us. And it's too restricting having that mindset. And again, I think some of our communities in our culture have probably got that mindset as well. Let's just keep to our own, because our own is safe, our own is how it should be. But I think our young people now, what we've got to try and help our young people doing is that actually, the world is small, and when you are going to be applying for jobs in the future, you may be applying for jobs in another country. So you need to be able to appreciate that culture, learn about that culture, know how that culture interacts, because you may need those skills for when you're coming to your interview or when you are working in those places. So I think we now need to kind of branch out, enjoy the fact that we are human beings and we are living in this planet, we're sharing the resources, and that we are making the best at what we can do, and that, you know, everything that we can do needs to be celebrated together, and different is great.
Yeah. So, I mean, let's talk, I guess, a bit about then adolescence. What for you, I guess, your earliest memory of having that passion for art?
Do you know, my earliest memory was, I mean, in year one, how old are you in year one? You're probably about six or seven.
Yeah.
I remember in year one, my teacher there, the same teacher, Miss Batar, gorgeous lady, she said to me, she set us a task, and the task was, can you draw a picture or make a picture of a member of your family? And so I went straight into the junk box, and in the junk box there's lots of fabric, and so I found a piece of corduroy, the scrap piece of corduroy fabric, and I cut those out, and I made two little rectangles, because my dad wore corduroy trousers, so that was his trousers. And then I found some shirts, and so I again, a little box, and I cut it out, and my dad wears shirts to work, so, you know, cut them out, stuck them on the piece of paper, and there was this kind of like fake fur stuff. So my dad has a beard, and he has like funky hair, so again, the fake fur was my dad's hair. And I remember that process. So I was linking the fabric with what my dad wear or what he looked like, and I was connecting together in my art form. And that, I can still remember the process, my thought process on that. And you know what, Savannah, I'm gutted that I don't have that work anywhere, but it brought me so much joy, and I was so proud of it, so proud that it actually did look like my dad at the end of it. But yeah, so my memories of making art are quite strong, being a young person, because I connect, and what many artists do, we just connect with how you're feeling, with what you are making. So is it an animal, is it a person, you know, what is it? And I think that's kind of helps to kind of get it locked into your mind, plus the fun part of it, you know, art's fun.
And then in terms of like being a young adult, I guess, and going through the stages that everyone goes through during their teenage years, and learning about themselves and discovering themselves in puberty, for you personally, like, did you find that art was your therapy during that time? Was it a medium you turned to kind of get you through the more difficult sides of being a teenager or young adult?
I mean, yeah, definitely. I mean, not just art, but creativity, just being creative and dancing. And I actually was quite sporty when I was younger. But what was really fascinating, and I think, you know, no one, and I think this is something that I try to do a lot in my teaching. It's, you know, telling young people, do you know, you're actually good at this, you're really talented at this. Not many people told me that until I was in secondary school, and I remember choosing my GCSE options. I were in year 9, and you've got to choose the options. And I took the yellow form back home to my parents, and I was like, Mum, Dad, I want to choose my options. I want to choose this. And then my parents said, well, you're going to do art? And I was like, yeah, I like art, I'm going to do art. It's like, Andrea, you know, what job does art give you? There's no jobs in art. You know, there's no job. So don't do art. It's a waste. Do something. You can do it as a hobby. Do something else. So I ticked the history box because my sister did history, and therefore she can help me. That was the mentality that I was given. And for those 2 weeks, I died. Those 2 weeks in those history classes, I thought, oh my God, this can't be it. And I remember I was just getting so upset. And my cousin, who went to the same secondary school as me, she went to she was traveling home, sorry, very long story, but she was traveling home, and on the tube home from secondary school was the art teacher. And the art teacher was like, oh, you know, I'm really upset that Andrea hasn't done art because she's on another par with art. And then my cousin rang me up, she goes, this is what the art teacher said. She says you're on another par. And at that time, I didn't realize, what does that mean? What does another par meant? And so my cousin asked her mum, and my auntie said, oh, it means you're on another league, another planet. It means you're really good at it. And Savannah, those were the words, well, that's all I needed. So somebody else believed that what my artwork was so good, that it was, you know, it was really brilliant, that I was good at it, that was what I needed to kind of make that really, you know, the first kind of brave conversation I've ever had in my life, telling my parents, I'm doing art. That's it. You can't say anything. I'm doing it. I've given history a go, and I'm doing it. And I had that conversation, and since then, no turning back. You know, it was life transforming for me. I was reborn. I had this kind of, I knew what I wanted to be, and every single report that I had from school, embarrassing, was, I wish Andria would put as much effort as she does in her artwork. Was what all the teachers were saying. So I was just like, oh my god. But you know, it was my destiny, and here I am now, and you know, it's just been brilliant, awesome.
Have you had that moment yet for yourself where you've kind of been that person for a pupil in your class to say, do you know what, you're really good at this?
Completely, and I don't hold back, and I'm like, look, you know, you've got to do it, and I'm going to come and I will sabotage your form, and I'm going to tick the art box, you know. And sometimes I say, look, I know you're going to have a difficult conversation with your parents. If you need me, I'm here. I will pick up the phone. I will call them. I'll back you up. I will, you know, we'll make this come. We'll get you through it. And you know, most of the time, my parents, the parents at my school, they trust the teachers. They believe us, and they're like, oh, thank you very much. And you're trying to say to them that they've got to do something crazy, because the world now needs people to be creative, and it's not just about art. It could be drama, it could be music, but as long as they're doing something that is creative to kind of get them through and make them see things a different way. So absolutely, I do that. And honestly, Savannah, there's the students that I have taught that I can honestly hand on heart say they're better than me, they draw better than me, and have not done it, and had to kind of say, miss, I can't do it, I need to be an accountant, my parents want to be an accountant. I'm like, don't worry, carry on, I'll see you in 2 years time. And lo and behold, when they go to university after about, and this is the gutting, the hard part of it, they drop out of university after 1 year, and they transfer straight onto the art course, and they come back and say, miss, can you help me do my portfolio, because you know, I want to do art now, I've seen the art courses in my school and I love it. And I'm like, yeah, no problem, that's fine, I'll help you with that. But they've had to have that journey. They've got to kind of, you know, go through that experience of finding it for themselves, what art means to them. And for me, it happened when I was in like year 9, and my cousin kind of helped me, and thank God she met my art teacher on the way home at that time when she called me. But and I found it then. But I think, you know, it's they'll go around the full circle. They'll do kind of a whole 360, and they'll find themselves, and they'll find their art form at some point of their life.
So for you personally, did you study arts at university, or did you take another route?
No, I did. I did my foundation course at Central St Martin. So if those of you who are thinking about doing foundation, it's the best year of your life. You need to do it. I think I just found who I was after that first year. And then I went to Brighton University, and I did a fashion textiles with business studies course there, and that was a 4-year course. And then afterwards, I went. I took a year out and did some work in industry. So I was, you know, working in different fashion houses. And then after a year, I applied very, very quickly, because I missed the application for the previous year, but I applied to go to be an art teacher for secondary school. And then that's been my route and my journey for the last 15 years now.
So, I mean, let's talk a bit about your amazing award now. So you won the Global Teacher Award in 2018, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So
yes, I did.
Tell us a bit about the journey from like being nominated to be able to go to the award ceremony. Tell us the whole story.
I was nominated simply because somebody who I worked with a long time ago was kind enough, really, and this is the key thing, that it's about kindness, kind enough to say, there's an award that I've heard of, and I want to put you down because I think that you meet the criteria, and let's just go for it and see what happens. And for me, I've never been a person who would apply to what is, you know, you don't, I don't know, when you're working in Alperton, you just get on with it, you just do it, and you don't think that you're ever as good as the other teachers around the world. I applied, so my colleague applied for me, and then there was an email, and then I completed the application form, and I thought, that's it, that's been done. You know, she applied for me, I done my bit, you know, there you go. And then I heard back, and I heard back to say, congratulations, you're in the top 50, and I'm like, what on earth has just happened? And then that's when I kind of thought, are they for real? And so then I went onto the website, and then on the website, it said things words like, 30,000 applications from 170 different countries, and you're in the top 50. And then I had like a tiny little panic attack. And then the greatest thing happened, right? Listen to this, it's so cute. That's the cutest thing. Brent magazine came to my school, and they did a tiny little article on me saying, congratulations, we're very proud, Brent teacher in the top 50. And then my mum, when that came out, that was it. Like, my mum went to every single Brent library. She got all of them, and she was just giving them out to people, church, everyone across the whole of London. North London has now got one of those Brent magazines now, because it was just wonderful. But I thought that was going to be it. That's it. Then in December 2017, February 2018, I had a phone call from the chairman of the organisation of the Barkey Foundation, and he's like, hey, how are you, Andrea? And I was like, oh, Mr. Potter, I'm really happy, thank you for this opportunity. And he goes, well, it's Valentine's Day coming up, and we'd like you to be in the top 10. And then that's when, like, the phone dropped, the Skype closed, everything just, and I just thought, oh my God. And I think at that moment, that's when my life changed, because then it kind of changed from, Savannah, my car did the same amount of like petrol every single day, every single week, home, school. That was it. And then I was kind of doing interviews. I was kind of, traveling to kind of, BBC News, to ITV News, and doing all these kind of, interviews and publications. It was quite scary, I could say. Look, really, really scary, because, tiny little art teacher from a Brent school, was in this huge competition, competing on a global scale with 9 other incredible teachers. How on earth could this person win? And then in March 2018, I was invited to Dubai, because that's where the ceremony was going to be taking place. So again, like the Palm Atlantis, so gold everywhere, right? Gold dripping luxury. So out of my comfort zone, not, felt very uncomfortable in that environment as well. And it was really interesting, because my mum and my dad, they came with me. They told my husband that he has to stay at home and look after the kids, because they're going to come to Dubai with me. So that was hilarious. So it was really nice having my mum and dad there with me, and for them to experience it as well, like, the prestige of it all. And then somehow my name was called out at the final, and the final was crazy, because I had, like, opposite me, in front of me, there was Priyanka Chopra was there, and then there was Al Gore, and then there was Mo Farah, and then there was all these ministers across the whole world, and there's a UK minister there as well, and you're like, oh my God, he's meant to be my boss. And they called my name out, and I won. And why did I win? Everyone says, well, why do you win? I think I won because of the context of my school, the fact that, yes, it's a London inner city school, multicultural, we celebrate that. But I think we won also because of the arts. The arts have really played a huge part in transforming our young people and giving them, like, those transformative skills to feel empowered, to go and feel confident, and to help them communicate and to be better people. And we've had the evidence to prove that. So I think that's why we won the award, and it's just been great for the school. I mean, nobody knew who Alperton Community School was. People would cross over the road not to be on our, not to walk the other side of the school. And now our kids are proud, where they're wearing their uniform with pride. It's been lovely to hear back from all the parents, all my ex-students saying, we're proud of you. And it's just been great. It's been a wonderful thing to happen that's transformed the whole school. And yeah, let's just hold on to the energy a little bit more. It's been beautiful.
In terms of now your MBE, how did that come about in terms of last year being awarded that prestigious award?
That's madness. I mean, the last 2 years of my life have been mad, Savannah. Mad, absolutely mad. And that was just the icing on the cake, really. I mean, and I'll tell you why that is a very significant, that award. Not because I think that I should have it, deserve it, not at all. What's significant about that is that a lot of the last 2 years have been about me in my house, in my cult, and in my family. So me. But my mum, my dad, my daughters, and my husband were able to go to Buckingham Palace and experience that kind of extravagance and that prestige of going into the palace and seeing me and seeing the member of the royal family give me an award. And I think that for me was the best thing. Not that I received, but they had that. They could experience just that little bit of special and twinkle and sparkle and unicorns and everything that which they would never do. And I think that was really beautiful.
As a person who champions young people in the like amazing way that you do, what do you think are the foundations to bringing up children that who do feel inspired, who do feel valued, who see their own self-worth and appreciate it? For you personally, like, what do you think are the foundations in order to ensure your kids have that?
I would like to think that every child have access to somebody who is a good role model, who inspires them, who is kind to them, but kind in a way of sometimes being really strict and say, just stop that, no, this is wrong, so a kind of like a fierce kind, as it were. I want the young people to have the opportunity to understand that mistakes are so important. You've got to make mistakes. You've got to fail. You've got to get things wrong, because you don't learn that. You don't learn if you don't do that. And I think you need to kind of be making all your mistakes when you're younger, rather than when you're 30, 40 years old. I would love every child to have the opportunity just to know their worth, and someone saying to them, you're good at that, or did you know that if you did this, then you would be able to do that and you'll be amazing at that. So having someone who saw their potential and where they can go, I think that's really important for a young person. So to realize them, you just wish that every young person, every child had what you had as a young person growing up, which was love, which was stability, which was family, which was kindness, which was challenge. You wish that you all have that, because when you have that, then you know that you are kind of like, you've got all the kind of ingredients to make somebody who's quite strong and stable and kind and committed in the local community.
Just to kind of round off, I think it would be quite nice is, do you have any sort of motivational words for someone that could be watching this and is thinking about going into teaching?
Oh, yes. Yes, right. Listen, best job ever, hardest job ever, but most rewarding job ever. It's amazing. You change lives. They remember you forever and ever and ever. You won't be as appreciated as you would like to be, but we don't do it for that. But just the fact that you are growing and inspiring young people to become better people, my God, that you can't put a price on what fulfillment, what joy, what energy that gives you. So good luck, and I'm here if you need me.
Oh, fabulous. You know what, Andria, thank you so much for chatting to me today. It's been a really inspirational conversation for even me on my part. So thanks for everyone watching. If you want to see more of these amazing interviews, tune in to LBSE 2020 on Instagram and Twitter. And Andria, I'll turn it over to you to share your socials if you want, so people know where to find you.
You'll find me, I'm at Alperton Community School, that's where I work, but otherwise I'm on @Andria Zaf Twitter, and you can contact me through my Twitter page or on andria.zafirakou@gmail.com.
Fabulous. So for everyone watching, make sure you follow Andria and tune in to LBSE 2020 because we have lots of more amazing interviews planned for all of you. Thank you.